In this session we are going to learn about linkers.
Linkers are words that we use to connect two ideas in one sentence or two. Our choice will usually depend on how complicated each idea is and whether we are writing or speaking. Remember, when we use web pages such as www.paperreader.com, one of the criteria used to assess the quality of our writing is the length of our sentences in a paragraph. In order to write longer sentences, we use linkers. There are different types of linkers as shown in the picture to the right.
For example, reasons and causes or results. I was tired. I stayed at home. In this example, we can see that the first idea, I was tired, is the reason for the second idea, I stayed at home. Or, I stayed at home is a result of I was tired. We can use linkers such as so or therefore to make the relationship between the two ideas clear. I was tired, so I stayed at home. I was tired. Therefore, I stayed at home. We could also change the order and put the result before the reason and use other linkers such as because. I stayed at home because I was tired. The linkers so, because and therefore show a relationship of reason and result, or cause and effect.
Let's look at an example of contrast. I was tired. I went for a walk. This time there is a different relationship between the two ideas. People don't usually go for a walk if they are tired. The second idea doesn't normally follow from the first one. It is unexpected. This relationship, where the ideas are different or opposing, is called contrast. We can use linkers such as but, although and however to show contrast and make the relationship between the ideas clear. I was tired, but I went for a walk. Although I was tired, I went for a walk. I was tired. However, I went for a walk.
Examples of comparison. Sometimes we want to compare to things that are different. My mother always goes to bed early. My father goes to bed very late. This is also a kind of contrast, and we can make the relationship clear using linkers such as while, whereas, but, however, or on the other hand. My mother always goes to bed early, whereas my father goes to bed very late. My mother always goes to bed early. My father, on the other hand, goes to bed very late.
Examples of adding information. One other common relationship between ideas is addition, when we want to add ideas. These can be very simple. I run every day. I eat healthy food. We could add these ideas with linkers such as and, also and to. I run every day and I eat healthy food. I run every day and I also eat healthy food. I run every day and I eat healthy food too.
In written English, we sometimes want to add ideas such as points in an argument. This is common when writing essays and reports. The cost of imported raw materials will be very high. There are landed costs to pay. We wouldn't be competitive with the new prices. In formal writing we can join ideas like these with linkers such as furthermore, moreover, what is more, in addition and besides. The cost of imported raw materials will be very high. Furthermore, there are landed costs to pay and we wouldn't be competitive with the new prices.
Now, let's give some explanation on when to use some linkers.
Contrast, in spite of, despite. Link two contrasting ideas are followed by a noun phrase. Although, even, though, link two contrasting ideas are followed by a sentence. However, nevertheless, still, yet, even so, on the contrary, in contrast, introduce a new idea which marks a contrast with previously stated ideas and are introduced by a comma. On the one hand, on the other hand, link two contrasting ideas, paragraphs. In contrast to, contrary to, link two contrasting ideas, followed by a noun phrase. Whereas, link two contrasting ideas, not separated by commas. Examples of but, yet, followed by a noun phrase or a sentence. The book is short but interesting. The book is short yet interesting. Examples of, in spite of, despite. It is placed at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. He arrived on time despite of getting up late. In spite of getting up late, he arrived on time. Examples of although, though/even though, in spite of the fact that, followed by a complete sentence. They can be placed at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. If it is placed at the beginning, we need to use a comma after the clause. Although the fact that the pupils had not studied, they all passed their exams. Though the fact that the pupils had not studied, they all passed their exams. Even though the fact that the pupils had not studied, they all passed their exams. In spite of the fact that the pupils had not studied, they all passed their exams. Examples of, however, nevertheless, even so, he was quite ill, however he went to school. He was quite ill, nevertheless he went to school. He was quite ill, even so he went to school. Examples of, while, whereas, this film is very interesting while that one is quite boring. This film is very interesting whereas that one is quite boring.
Reason and cause, because, as, since, seeing that, introduce a sentence. Subordinate sentences introduced by because always appear in final position. Because of, on account of, owing to, due to, introduce a noun phrase. Examples of, because of, on account of, owing to, due to, because of the weather, we stayed at home. On account of the weather, we stayed at home. Owing to the weather, we stayed at home. Due to the weather, we stayed at home. Examples of, in order to, so as to, she uses her video in order to record TV programs. She uses her video so as to record TV programs. She uses her video to record TV programs.
Purpose, in order to, so as to, introduce an infinitive of purpose. In order that, so that, introduce a sentence. Consequence, consequently, as a consequence, as a result, therefore. As a consequence of, as a result of, followed by a noun phrase. So, introduces a sentence, no commas used. Examples of, therefore, as a result, consequently, for this reason, therefore, it always passes its Samuel-Rote test. As a result, it always passes its Samuel-Rote test. Consequently, it always passes its Samuel-Rote test. For this reason, it always passes its Samuel-Rote test.
Addition, moreover, furthermore, in addition, besides, what's are more used after a strong pause and separated from the sentences. They are introduced by a comma. As well as, in addition to, besides used to add one more piece of information, followed by a noun phrase. Add information. Examples of, for example, for instance, such as, fruits are a good source of vitamins, for example, oranges have vitamin C. Fruits are a good source of vitamins, for instance, oranges have vitamin C. Fruits are a good source of vitamins, such as oranges because they have vitamin C. Examples of, moreover, besides, in addition to, apart from, moreover to soul music, she likes rap. Besides soul music, she likes rap. In addition to soul music, she likes rap. Apart from English, she speaks French. Exemplification, for example, for instance, introduces an example referring to previously stated ideas. Such as, introduces an example referring to the last idea.
Well, that's it for today's lesson. Have a good day.